I love the new music. I'm back here jamming this whole time. You guys don't see it when we come on camera. JJ plays that for like 5 minutes before the show. I think it's to get my head into the game because I'm a hot mess. Anyways, as you know, that's why we call the show Too Late to Cancel. It's too late to cancel. We're only 3 minutes late. So many friends showing up again. It's so good. We're great to have you guys here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is Mother's Day, y'all. So we have a pre-brunch size show for you this week because y'all got to get out, go get some brunch, go see mama, call mom, go visit her wherever she is, or, be the mom, whatever it may be. We've got a mini pre-brunch size. Good morning, everybody. Good to see so many friendly faces again. We got a great show, though, as always, because that's what we do here. We got some serious topics. We got some not so serious topics. We'll have a few laughs. We'll have a good time. In the meantime, to all you mothers out there, happy Mother's Day. To all you children of mothers, give them a call or at least give them a moment to think about them if we're not around. My mother's unfortunately passed away. So have a great day either way. I'm glad you guys are here. If nothing else, take advantage of the discounts on Mother's Day. So, JJ, let's get on. Let's talk. We gave Kyler, our youth correspondent, the day off because the fact is he's got 2 more years of college, and I don't want him to get left sideways with his mom. So Kyler is doing Mother's Day things, and that's where he needs to be right now. We can't afford to pay for his college, so I don't want to go sideways with his family right now. So, anyways, we'll go right on with the news. Let's do the news. Obviously, some serious topics, some less serious topics. Yeah. So this is just a general story. So this is fascinating to me. I had to talk this because Rolling Stone, which is, by the way, doing some great. Have you guys noticed that some of the best journalism coming out in the Trump 2.0 is like Rolling Stone, Wired, not the usual suspects, but they're getting some really good stuff because of the times we're in. Rolling Stone decided to ask 53 Republican senators about the fact that, if you recall, while we were on there last week, Donald Trump did an interview with Kristen Welker where when she asked him, do you think you have to follow the Constitution? He said, I don't know. I've got great lawyers. They decide. It's which is not the right answer on any measure. So he got that wrong, as he always does. But Rolling Stone said, hey, let's ask the Republicans in Congress what they think of that. And it's shocking to know none of them answered. Not one would answer. That's the bravery and the spine of the Republican caucus in the Senate we have right now. It's a great thing to remember in 2 years when we vote them out. At least a third of them, hopefully, we'll get them all out of there because this is the way it is. They can't even commit that the president should follow the Constitution. The thing he swears an oath to on a Bible kind of close to a Bible. I don't think he touched the Bible. He hovered over the Bible because he wouldn't burn his hand. But having said that, this is the irony of this. It's the same week that Stephen Miller, Timu Nosferatu, if you will, the vampire who goes out in daylight only when it's cloudy, Miller got in front of the camera saying they're considering getting rid of habeas corpus. Now, I don't speak Latin, but I know it's really important. It gives you the chance to petition the government about being detained. It's that simple. It's been a right since the 1700s, for God's sake. They're saying that since we're in the time of war and invasion, that they may suspend habeas corpus for those who wanted to. Look, the thing is, if you suspend habeas corpus for a few people, immigrants, you're suspending it for everyone because they can just say, you're an immigrant, and off you go. It's extremely dangerous and slippery slope. And of course, the Republicans refuse to take part in discussing it in any way, shape, or form. Hold your representative feet to the fire, folks. Calling Republicans matters. Calling people matters. I'll just give you that little urgency right now. It is working getting hold of these people. Get hold of them. They don't want to hear from you. Get hold of them anyway. Our next story ties into what we're going to talk about for our interview today. So just today, and you guys know I'm tough on this administration. I'm hard on this administration for a reason. There's a lot of real clownery going on. Duffy himself has spent most of his time on, Fox News, Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy. This is the Fox News star administration. But Duffy did announce, and apparently he's been on TV just this morning announcing that they plan to reduce the number of flights in and out of Newark International Airport for the next several weeks, as there's been a number of incidents there as we find reports of not enough ATCs and reports of radar outages and other things. He spoke on Meet the Press about this just today. He's going to convene a meeting with all the airlines this week to talk about it. As you guys know, you may have heard, for example, airport radar went black for 90 seconds. Luckily, 3:55 a.m., similar to the April 28th incident that happened there as well. So there's been a lot of problems, an average of 35 cancellations a day since through mid-April there. They have committed to a multi-billion-dollar overhaul of the air traffic control system. We'll talk about that with our guests. But Duffy did say Sunday he plans to raise the mandatory retirement age for air traffic controls from 56 to 61 as he tries to navigate a shortage of about 3,000 people of ATCs. And he also plans to give new air traffic controllers a 20% upfront bonus. Actually, correction, 20% bonus to stay on the job instead of retiring. However, he says many air traffic chose to retire. We're going to discuss that because ATC is a hard job. As you guys know, we got in the back here. I used to be a helicopter pilot. ATCs save us all the time and keep us flying safely. And it's a very, very tough and strenuous job. And for that reason, of course, as we always do here on our show, on Too Late to Cancel and on Democracy, we get the best guests to talk about this. And of course, I've got the guests to talk about it. Let's go ahead and bring on our guest, JJ. Hey, there you are. Wait, no, Harvey, welcome, Harvey Scolnick. Harvey Scolnick is a retired air traffic controller out of the Newark Airport Control Facility. Harvey, welcome to the show. It's so great to have you here.
Good to be here, Fred. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so all of a sudden, your obscure job is really popular to talk about, isn't it? Tell us a little about your background as an air traffic controller, Harvey.
So I started as an air traffic controller a long time ago, but I started my career at the Cleveland Air Route Traffic Control Center. It was actually in Oberlin, Ohio. Then I moved over to the Cleveland Tower. And then I moved over to the room where Newark approaches, right where it was for many years. It was a new experiment by the FAA to put the approach controllers who were normally under the towers in the major airports in one room. So they took the controllers from Newark, Kennedy, and LaGuardia approach controllers, put them all in a room at JFK. And I worked there for about 10 years before I then moved on to Harrisburg. I managed a tower in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, finished my career in Harrisburg, and then went on to, I created and delivered a pilot safety course for several years. And then the FAA, who contracted out a lot of their training at some point, hired me. Actually, I worked for a contractor to administer the training program at an FAA tower facility for 10 years. And now I pretty much lecture on the air traffic control system. So been involved in the system for a long, long time.
So you know some stuff about it. Yeah. And we were teasing earlier in the pre-show that Harvey's actually 28 years old. It's just that job is so tough. It ages you like me, it's a job that takes it out of you. It must be weird seeing so much of your former workplace and job being discussed so much as it is. But obviously, suddenly we're really worried about the ATC world, aren't we?
We're worried, but it's as safe as it has ever been. Don't worry about it so much because maybe the equipment is aging, but the equipment is not the worst equipment in the world. It was these new radar scopes were brought on in the early 2000s. They've had updates up to as far as 2012. And as aged as the system is, it still works well, and it works very well because the system that was created many years ago still works very, very well. And the people that do the job are the best.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? It's been frustrating for me, again, as a former pilot, to see when they first came in, the administration came in, especially, they were very aggressive, kind of smearing a lot of folks. They smeared a lot of your former, peers, kind of, and a lot left. I mean, a lot of the folks kind of said, "I'm done. I don't want to deal with this." In a lot of ways, they're trying to put the cat back in the bag if they opened it up in the first place, aren't they?
Controllers, they're working these days. They're working in a fishbowl. Everyone has a smartphone. In the old days, I like to call them, when things happen, it wasn't that the FAA didn't try to find out what happened and prevent it from happening again. But, you pretty much, as many businesses did, circle the wagons and try to keep it in-house and deal with it in-house. You can't do that anymore. And maybe that transparency is even better and better for the system itself. But controllers, everything they say, everywhere, every place, immediately is heard. And as soon as someone hears what they consider to be an error, they're on the phone immediately to the news media. And so it's pretty tough. It's a difficult job as it is, but to operate fearful of every word that you're saying makes it a lot tougher.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, I've been in that world as well, and we saw a number of folks resign and retire. They're trying to put it back. We've discussed a little bit about, you said in our pre-show that you saw Sean Duffy's conversation today, and it seemed like we both agreed that as much as we are, I mean, I obviously, people who know the show know I'm a partisan. I'm a Democrat. I've been very difficult in this administration. I've been sued by him. Having said that, though, it does sound like what Duffy is proposing is the right answer this time, isn't it? Did you feel good about what they have in mind to kind of fix things, or because there's a lot of brilliant stuff. There's a lot of big stuff in there, isn't there? Like extending your retirement age.
I think he hit the nail on the head. Where he's talking about replacing 6,000 radars, updating the telecommunication system, building new ATC centers, installing new software. All of those things, I think, are right on the money. What concerns me the most, I'm not. They talked about hiring 2,000 controllers next year.
Yeah.
I really think that they need to double that and maybe make it 5,000. That is
Mm.
really the issue. Controllers will always make the job, they'll always make it work. They'll always operate safely because they'll meter the flow of traffic depending on their numbers. But they're always short on staffing. Always short because the FAA has a habit of operating on the cheap when it comes to staffing their facilities. That's
Yeah.
where I think they need to think about the impact that has as number one.
Yeah, but you and I touched when we were texting back and forth earlier. Yeah, but they're also working 6 day a week now, right? I mean, it's great to have that much money, but if you're working, I mean, I think does it feel like it's the larger picture. It's a tough job. I mean, let's be honest, it's a very tough job. The reason there's not enough is it is a hard job. It's a stressful job. The training requirements are real. Like you said, when things go wrong, it gets ugly fast for those. I mean, has there always been a problem recruiting, or is there outside factors weighing on it now?
I don't think there's always been a problem recruiting. I think they just don't hire enough.
Mm.
My first days at JFK as a controller, in that facility that had LaGuardia, Newark, and Kennedy, I'm going to give away my age now, but it was 1969. And
Wow.
already in 1969, they were working mandatory 6 day weeks. So
Wow.
there's nothing new about facilities being short, about the job being stressful. For many of us and for many people that I've worked with all these years, that's what made the job so great. I mean, I can remember guys at that Kennedy facility trying to get to work on the evening shift an hour early because they wanted to work the busiest positions in the house. And so it is what made it so great. It's like there's 3 seconds left in the game. You're down 2 points. Give me the ball. I want to take that shot.
Right. Right. I mean,
Lots of
that's the thing.
controllers. Now,
Yeah.
if you don't feel that way, maybe it's not the job for you. But a lot of us feel that.
Adrenaline junk is what I'm hearing right now.
It really is.
But it does. It takes a lot out of you. It's a tough job. You actually told a story about training. I'm going to make you tell that story again because it was, you're offering training to, I believe, a fear of flying class. Because I was teasing you about, aging, right?
It wasn't a fear. It was there was a captain from Pan Am who who's also a psychologist and had a fear of flying class where he had people in the classroom. These are people who were very phobic, and eventually he got them on an airplane. As soon as they walked on an airplane, they began to perspire, and eventually they actually took a trip on an airplane. I think from LaGuardia to Washington and back, and that was the ultimate aim, to get them to actually fly in an airplane. So they invited an air traffic controller to talk to his class, and we were in a room at the old Pan Am hangar at JFK, and I was the one there. I've always been a class clown, and I'm sitting there, and a vagrant who often hung around those terminals walked in the door. The guy probably was 75. His hair was yellow. His clothes were in shreds, and he just looked in, peeked in, and he walked out. And I shouted out, that guy's one of our controllers. Believe it or not, that guy's only 22 years old. This job takes a lot out of you. And half the people left the room. And this captain was it was his business. He was so angry with me. He said, you don't understand how phobic these people are. I said, gee, I am so sorry.
This is what you get when you sit in a room with other people like us that all the time. You lose your. They don't understand our dark humor. It's like, But it's like the old saying: it's better to be on the ground wishing you were. Better to be on the ground wishing you were in the air than in the air wishing you're on the ground, right? And that's where ATCs come in.
The days when pilots, before regulation or deregulation, pilots would take off at their scheduled departure time. They would get to the airport, and when too many of them got to the airport at the same time, we would hold. And we started. Here's a story about a holding pattern. I was working one day, and I had a Northwest 727 that had been in the holding pattern for a long time. The runway acceptance rates today, pretty much at these airports, are the same as they were then. I
Yeah.
mean, you can only put so many airplanes on the ground per hour.
Jet wash is jet wash.
That's what it is. So I had one of these Northwest jets said to me, "We're low on fuel. We need to divert. We need to go to our alternate." And the way FAA rules worked, he could only hold so much time. Then he had to go to an alternate and had to have so much fuel remaining. So he decided he needed to leave that holding pattern after holding for about an hour and a half. So he left the holding pattern. I think he went to Minneapolis, from New York to Minneapolis to refuel. He came back about 4 hours later. I was working the same position. I got that same airplane in the same holding pattern again. So now the FAA has designed a program of running more ground delays, or what they call EDCT, or ground departure times, to meter the flow of traffic with airplanes on the ground. This way they don't burn as much fuel. But that's the way it is today. But it's still safe. It still works. It still works.
I mean, it sounds the same. And you were directing biplanes back then when you first started, so
I am sure I have directed
smoke signals. You've heard all these jokes. I know you've heard these jokes. It's all I got is ATC. I got ATC jokes for you, brother. Like I said, in the old days, my very first, training is, I was we're going to tell war stories now. You'll appreciate it. I was in training in a TH-55, the old Army helicopter, had one VHS radio. This is a tiny aircraft. And my instructor pilot was a Vietnam vet. And as crusty as they come, like we would take off and he would magically produce a cigarette, right? We don't know where it came from. It was illegal to smoke an aircraft, but it was lit. That was the weirdest thing. It was a running joke that he would, come up with. So you'd be flying along, he's smoking a cigarette in an open cockpit helicopter. And I get it. I go to enter the pattern and the training pattern. And I get hold of ATC and hey, such and such, 555, enter the pattern, and and the radio goes out. And I'm like, oh, and of course I thought maybe it was a training exercise. Oh, I gotta, the procedure. So when you lose your radio, folks, you're supposed to leave the pattern. There's a whole process, right? So I immediately start doing my emergency actions and going to leave the pattern, all that stuff. And he goes, oh, Lieutenant, hold on. He puts his cigarette in his mouth and he hikes up in his seat. And he kicks the shit out of the radio. He's like wailing on the console on the radio, right? In the hair. And I'm like, undoes his seatbelt. I'm like, okay. And sure enough, starts working again. And he sits back down, puts his belt back on, puts a cigarette in his mouth. He goes, "That's your first lesson in Army technology, Lieutenant." I was like, oh, okay. Kick the shit out of it. Anyway.
Didn't we call that Brogan maintenance?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It worked. You kick the shit. So anyways, for the next 20 years of my career, I kicked the shit out of radios I needed to work, but those are the good old days. Well, Harvey, I guess in the end, they're trying to fix it. How when you talk to your peers and the folks, how's morale? Is it the same? It's been a rough 4 months for your peers, I imagine.
I spoke to a young friend that I trained. What I do is I call all these people that I've trained over the past years, and there's hundreds of them out there, and works at an East Coast facility, who said morale is pretty terrible there.
Yeah, he
said they're working mandatory 6-day weeks. This is a relatively new facility. They have great equipment. Yeah. He said he's on a don't call me for overtime list, but he manages to get called all the time anyway. And he said, they're getting the press that they're getting is not good. That's not great. I heard from someone else talk to me about Sean Duffy's statement of a couple of weeks ago, and I understand what he's trying to do. They're providing incentives to hire new controllers. They're providing incentives for people not to retire, because first of all, there's a mandatory retirement age of 56, but air traffic controllers have a separate bill for them, which allows them to retire in some cases with 20 years of service, in some cases, if they're age 50, in some cases with 25 years of service at any age, which allows them to retire before the age of 56. Yeah. And they want to give these people an incentive to not retire. So there's incentives to the people retiring. There's incentives to the people coming in. What are you saying about the people that are in the middle, who have been doing this grudgingly difficult work for years and years? They seem to be the people who are forgotten. Maybe they just need a little bit of tender, loving care and understanding from the administration. That might help a little bit.
Well, that's it. And I hear so many of those stories, Harvey, of peers who work at VA, peers who work in DOD, FBI special agents have reached out to me. I mean, it's not a minute, like an hour goes by, I don't hear from someone who's working there, and they are just getting beat down. It's when you've been told consistently that you're a deadbeat or you're bureaucrat suck on the tit of America. It's just it's demoralizing as hell. And now they got to turn around and look. And I said at the beginning too, and I know Harvey, you feel the same way. There's things that should be beyond politics. I mean, there really are things that should be beyond politics. And our defense, our national defense, that's why I'm angry at Hegseth. It's not that I don't like Hegseth because of his politics. I don't like Hegseth because he's running my military badly. It's the same way I do not want Sean Duffy to fail. If there's ever a job on earth, I mean, I want them to succeed. I want them to do the right thing. It was nice to see some reasonable ideas. Now the question is, can he put back what he said before, where he was attacking everybody and calling them, and then trying to get Elon Musk and Doge in there to cut? It's very disturbing. So, have you seen? And the last thing I'll let you go. We've heard of cancellations of contracts of upgrades and changes. They're going to Starlink. And does the technology side of this worry you? Because that seems like there's other hands at work there too.
Well, it doesn't worry me that the current technology is enough to get the job done, and there is stuff in the pipeline, but it happens slowly. I know I know people who work at there's a technical center outside of Atlantic City. There are things that are being tested and being ready to be brought online all the time, but it's going to take time. Sean, friend, let me say one thing that I encourage people, young people. You don't need a college degree to get to apply to take the test for the FAA. The test is difficult. They always pick the people who get the highest scores. The training program is tough as hell. Because when they say they're going to hire 2,000 controllers, they lose maybe 30% of those controllers at a school in Oklahoma City, and then they lose another 30% or so in the training process because it's OJT. But let me say that those who make it through, it is a tremendously rewarding profession. I mean, really, I ran to work every day for 38 years because I couldn't wait to do it. It is a tremendous job. I encourage people. If you're young and you're under 31, you have to be hired before your 31st birthday.
Okay.
Take a look at a career as an air traffic controller.
Sounds like a great place for veterans. I bet a lot of veterans go over there. I know we were working hard to get veterans hired there when I was a veterans advocate. So, well, Harvey, I can't thank you enough for taking time on Mother's Day and Sunday with us to go live and talk to us. Thanks for all you're doing. I appreciate your voice of reason and assurance. Because again, I want to fly. I want to fly safely. One of our next guests just got off an airplane safely. It's still the safest air traffic system in the world, isn't it?
It is the safest. And that's the problem. When the FAA would go to Congress every year and say they want more money, Congress would always say, "Isn't this the safest and the best air traffic control system in the world?" The answer would be yes. And they would normally come back with, "Well, if it's already the safest and the best, why should we give you more money to make it safer and better?" That's a lesson to be learned, I think, for today's Congress. Make it safer and better.
Well, there you go.
Thanks for having
All
me.
right, sir. Well, thanks for having me. Appreciate you joining us. Good luck. Enjoy your Sunday.
Thank you.
See you soon. Such an important topic. And we were so lucky to get Harvey and his vast experience to join us. So again, as much as we beat up on the Trump administration, that's my job. Actually, it's my living. It is important to remember that it is our government keeps us safe. Our government protects us from foreign threats. Our government does all those things. We don't want our government to fail, and we sure as heck don't want our air traffic control system to fail, because that's real lives right now, to include one of our panel members. So, without further ado, we're moving right along. I'm thrilled to join the panel. Let's get the panel going. We got a great guest. Chanel Ali is a stand-up comedian, writer, actor, living in New York City, currently touring soon with her one-woman show, Relative Stranger. And then Barry Brisco is an actor, writer, producer, whom you're going to recognize, Barry. So, JJ, let's bring on the panel. Man, smooth transition. We're just popping right on. Welcome, guys. Good to see you. How are you? Welcome to Too Late to Cancel. It's good to see you.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Yes,
Barry,
how you doing? And happy Mother's Day to all who's out there.
There you go. Yeah, it's Mother's Day. It's a great day. So important. We appreciate you guys joining us. I'm taking time out. You've got a lot going on. Chanel, you're in New York, I believe. Where are you, Barry?
I'm in Los Angeles, and beautiful West Hollywood.
So you got up the crack of dawn. I've tried to get my friend Morgan Fairchild to join the show, but Morgan refuses because she can't put her drag makeup on at 8 a.m. So so I appreciate you getting up early for us. And we tell the story. We tell the story every week. We had Christopher Titus and his wife were supposed to join us in LA back around Christmas time. And Rachel refused to get out of bed and said some really nasty things about me for having a show so early. So,
this morning, I promise. Like, I don't even think this time in the morning.
Yeah, but look at you. JJ, I've been saving this. JJ, show the picture. Okay. So as I was prepping for the show, I found this picture of Barry on his IMDb. Show the picture. Look at this shit. This guy. I mean, you're fine. you can clearly wake up and just, look good. I mean, dude, come on now. This is ridiculous. You're making us all.
Fred, you can just call Barry. You don't have to have him on your podcast.
I know. I should just call him sooner. Well, I've got a fiance, Chanel. I'm offended by it. I'm going to.
All of this.
That's how I pick up people. I'm offended by this.
It's not about democracy. All of it.
All right, you're right. Good show. We're done for the day. That's fair. Chanel, I get accused almost every week of gushing on our panel guests because I love them all. It's annoying. It's who I am. I can't believe I get to actually talk to you guys. So, but Chanel, you've got something cool to talk about. You're doing a one-woman show right now. Tell us about that.
Yeah. I just got back from running it in the Melbourne Comedy Festival in Australia.
Okay.
It's also been in Edinburgh. I've taken it to Scotland, and it's an hour show of just me telling my life story, which is pretty interesting, as you can tell, because I'm so funny. And then, it really culminates in the fact that 2 years ago, I booked a TV commercial with 23andMe, and they tested my DNA and told me that I had a brother that I didn't know about. And so I connected with the brother, and we figured out that we have the same dad, and my dad is a cop. And so I hit up my cop dad, and I said, hey. I said, guess what? And he was like, no. I was like, yeah, DNA, the DNA that you use in your job? Same kind. And we got it, and they met. And he was like, no. And I said, ooh, I'm going to tell everybody. And, it's just a fun show. It really touches on family and honesty and healing and finding humor in it. It's very funny to me that my cop dad didn't like his DNA, being matched. He didn't like that. That's silly, and I have a good time with it. And I get standing ovations. People love it. I'm about to do an off-Broadway run in September at the Soho Theater. So yeah, I'm really excited. It's my first time kind of diving into this other performance art, but it's been very rewarding, and it just feels like magic.
It's awesome. It's great. And it's so funny how, who was it the other day was saying that she's got just enough father trauma that she is a comedian, but not enough to have an OnlyFans, I think. Yeah. Which I thought was
pretty good. But also I am shooting a comedy special for OnlyFans in 2 days. So we're towing the line.
Wow. That is, I did not know that. And I wish I did. This is why we got to do our prep.
We're towing the line.
Barry,
I'll be fully clothed.
How do I transition over to Barry now? That okay. Well, anyways, yeah. What was that? I did not need to know that. There's a lot of information. Yeah, Barry. You're looking it up. He's typing it up now. So, wow, things got weird here on This is Mother's Day, y'all. This is completely inappropriate. Barry, man, you've had quite a career. I mean, I literally, it was so funny when I looked at you. I was like, I know this guy. I've seen you in so many things. I mean, you've had an itinerant career. I mean, it's just you pop everywhere. How are you feeling about it? It's interesting life to be popping from these, but probably unique experience. I bet too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and people always someone just asked me, it's like, are you married with some kids? I'm like, hell no. I'm married.
He's like, that's why I'm doing so good. Look.
I call it, I said, I married this bitch a long time ago and I'm in love. I've been in a relationship with my career, for a long time.
Yeah.
But proud of you for doing all of these circuits. Melbourne Comedy Festival, Australia.
Thank you.
And, I did all of those. I did
Oh,
all of those.
awesome!
Did
That's
did,
so
I was
amazing.
in Melbourne three times, yeah, and in Australia too. You wanted to get real deep on Mother's Day. I was doing the show. I was doing puppetry of the penis. Look that up.
What is that?
It was great. It's an Australian comedy show, but I toured Australia a couple times. In Australia, Switzerland, Edinburgh, did all of those things. But yeah, you're gonna have a great time when you take those shows on the road. It's fantastic.
I love being worldly and being able to translate your material. I think it's like once you master that skill, it's magic. It's just it crosses boundaries.
Yeah. You own the world. You know, I mean, that's it. That's where you planned on being. That's where you want to be. You're on stage and people are clapping for you and paid money to go and to see your show.
Yeah. I mean, it's a kind of exciting time. I mean, you're young. I mean, joking. You know, me and Barry. I'm much younger than Barry. You know, you've kind of rocketed to things like you said with the one woman show. I was looking at your staging. You've gotten awards in the last 5 years. You kind of riding the wave right now, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm really funny, but I'm also really good at understanding systems and processes. And I think that it's like a combination of being good at business and also just like manifestation. I'm really big on that. I was standing right here when I told my dad, hey, I took this test and I met your son and this is your son. And then when he was being an asshole, I was standing right here and I was like, I'm going to win an Emmy. You're so dumb. You know, and it's because if I didn't start to visualize it right in that moment and say, I should take this to Scotland and then I should do an off-Broadway run and then I should do a Broadway run and then I should get it's like I have to start visualizing it so that you can speak about it like it's real so that you can make it real. Yeah. And I think that I also teach comedy class. So I teach young comics all the time about planning and dreaming. We have to have dreams. We can't just do the work of being an artist because what are we doing, you know? So I really pride myself on using the time I have to try to get all the things that I want.
That's and everything's material at some point, right? It's like, you know, it feeds the business, and it's the same way as an actor, isn't it, Barry? I mean, I think your life experience you've had a unique life experience. It kind of shapes what roles you pick and how you fall into those roles, isn't it?
Absolutely. It also teaches you how do you deal with people in general, though. I mean, this business is crazy. I mean, and if you don't have people skills, if you don't have, skills to just say, okay, this person is crazy or this person is this time, but you really have to learn what kind of people you're dealing with, though, because you don't know that the moment that you turn, that smile turns into something else the moment that you turn your back.
Yeah, and you've been thrown into like that I was joking earlier in the pre-show about the prank panel. I mean, it's on your demo reel on IMDb. That's I see, going back to your comedian roots, it's almost you've really got to be doing a lot. It really is like an improv. You were doing an improv there as part of a prank, right?
Yeah, right. Pretending to be somebody else. I was pretending to be a show producer, a Hollywood producer, and we were bringing a girl's grandmother on the show to prank her to thinking that she was going to be in a music video with Bruno Mars. And it was like everything. There was none of that was scripted. So I mean, I don't know what she was going to say. I didn't know what 30 people, the dancers, anything could have happened, and it was a prank panel. So everything was happening. So it wasn't just like, I mean, this is improv. Me and you, the three of us go back and forth. But now add in an entire studio: Johnny Knoxville, Gabourey Sidibe, Eric Andre, acting a fool, and on top of all of that, and we still have to, be funny, be professional, and also, and be ready for any antics coming from any of those people at any time, and then you also have to keep in your groundlings training. I'm throwing groundlings and yes, and everything. Okay.
Right.
Hyper about to drop in your face. Yes, and bring it on.
The old yes and. For those that you've taught comedy, you get to explain that, Chanel. Yes,
yeah,
and.
It's just you take something and you move forward. If somebody says something crazy to you, you use it in life all the time. Somebody says something crazy to you, yes, and then we should, and then you move forward, and you don't ever stop. you always build and allow your creativity to flow. And getting into that flow is, it just, that's where all the good writing and performing and characters, that's where it comes from.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny. We had Lace Larrabee on last week. And she teaches comedy in Atlanta, and we had a great conversation about how it makes you comedy training also. And she talked about how she's got executives, she's got entrepreneurs, in her classes, because the root, and you kind of got to it, Barry. The roots of a good comedy, a good improv, is also good storytelling. It's good engaging. It teaches you better how to read people, right? I mean, it's kind of what you're teaching them, aren't you, Chanel?
Oh yeah. Absolutely. I think it makes their whole life better. Their relationships get better. They know how to, request for like a fried egg on their burger. They're not scared to ask. Like everything in their life gets better after they take my class. And I also think that, to speak on what Barry was saying, that another thing that I think really helps to be a professional performer is to learn how to negotiate for yourself. And I recently, or in the last 2 years, started to set some standards for even my travel, because I used to really struggle with the fear of flying. And so I started educating myself to understand, like, well, why are these incidents happening? And I was like, oh, okay, I don't want to fly in the DMV area. I don't want to fly over there. And if I have to fly over there, I don't want to fly at night, because I saw the data and I saw how many near misses we were talking about. And I was like, yeah, there was a time in my career when I had to just take the flight or the bus or the train or whatever. But now I want to have more peace of mind and show up and be ready to do the thing that I got booked to do. So if I have to, what I call going Beyonce mode, which is when I tell them, hey, I told you already, you're not lighting it like I said you need to light it. And I don't know why I have to say it twice.
There you go. All right. Wow. I love it.
I'm definitely not going to say it again.
Right. Barry, you've been in the business for a few years. You've been, probably a lot of the actors you work with have not. I mean, I imagine the same way when you walk on a set. It's supposed to work and what's not at this point, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Though you better know what you're doing, though. I mean, that's something too about acting and the whole thing. People think that acting is memorizing lines. That's such a small fraction of acting. First of all, I mean, it's just like you got to have some kind of it factor. You got to have some kind of you also definitely have to have knowledge of everything that's going on the set. I tell people all the time, they're like, "Oh, I won't do background work." I said, "That's why you're not a working actor." Because you have no idea what's going on. You need to be there. I mean, if you're going to be sitting at home, you need to be sitting on a set if you can get on that set for whatever price. I've done background work and found myself face to face with Meryl Streep, face to face with Steve Martin, face to face with Beyonce and Jamie Foxx and all of them. I did background. I mean, I left New York to come to California to be in Dreamgirls. I said, I'm going to be in that movie. And I snuck on set. But I had to know what the hell I was doing. I snuck on set. I got online. There was a whole 650 black people down there. What are they going to do? Tell me no? I'm not supposed to be here. What's your name? I said, Barry Brisco. He said, we don't have a voucher for him. Give me one of the vouchers for somebody who didn't show up. Boom. Cross his name out, put mine in. An hour, maybe about 5-6 hours later, we're on set. And I found out who the second AD was, who was calling all the shots. I'm like, I need to get to know her. And we figure it out. And so the next thing you know, I'm talking to her. She's yelling out. She's trying to get 12 people who play instruments. I'm like, she said, Barry, can you play an instrument? Now she knows my name. I'm like, I can play anything, no brass. I'm like, I can't. The music is already laid down.
Acting.
And she's like, I'm going to make you our trombone player. We came back the next day, and it's like nobody there except for the band, Beyonce, Jamie Foxx, Eddie Murphy, the whole shebang. That's who's there, and us, the band. I'm here. It's my second day, and on set. I'm not supposed to be there. I am supposed to be there, and I'm surrounded by Jamie, who just won his Oscar, and Beyonce, two of the biggest stars on the planet at the time. But then there was the only way that I could even accomplish that is that I had to know what the F I was doing to appear that I needed to be there. Always look like you're supposed to be there. Always look like you're important. Always be those people. Be the person who's supposed to be there. Be the person who's important. A lot of the times you look at people, you're like, how did this person get this job? Or how did this person act? This isn't an actor. I'm a better actor than them. You know what? They did their freaking homework. They did their homework. They knew exactly what they were supposed to do and who they were supposed to deal with, and then spend too much time on the person who they weren't supposed to deal with and had their eyes focused on the goal. And that's what you need to do. If you're not going to have, you know, if you're going to do this 100%, you can't do it, and you can't do it alone. Get yourself an entourage, get yourself friends, make yourself available for other people. And I mean, if you can't make yourself available for other people, you can't go and support your friends and everybody doing everything, every moment that you possibly can. They won't do it for you. They won't do it for you. You won't be there. You won't have any friends. I don't have a lot of followers on Instagrams or whatever, but I can say one thing: 4,000 or 5,000 people that are on there. I've met them. I know, you know, I converse with them and say, "Hey, wasn't that you in this and that?" And I saw you in this and that. But but you gotta be there, support yourself, and support yourself. Think about that. Separate your artist from who you are, and treat your artist like he is your best friend, and you will do, and your child, your baby, you'll do anything to protect them. You know, and you didn't do anything for them. That's the way you got to think.
It's funny, and it is really it's a great business mindset and life mindset. That's like the same way with me. I have a bad memory, anyways, but I've always been, if people need something from me, they need to boost something on social media, fine. It's a tweet, doesn't hurt me at all. It's like, and just be that person who helps others, and they'll remember. It comes back. You don't keep tracks. No need to keep a list. I don't keep a list of favors I've done. I mean, nothing makes me more gratified. I was at an event not long ago, and this guy walked and goes, "Hey, I want to thank you for getting me that job." I have no idea what he was talking. I'm like, "Oh yeah." What job? No, don't you remember? You wrote the recommendation for, Bell Health. I'm like, "Oh, okay, yeah. Oh shit, that's great." He's like, it's. I said to my fiance, I was like, I hate that I have a bad memory, but I do love that I have a bad memory. That means I don't remember all the favors I've done, but people do. And so you're right. It's just a simple life balance that does come back in business and in careers as well. So, well, this is great. Let's do panel picks. I warned you guys about panel picks. There should be a surprise. Go ahead, JJ, bring them up. I'm giving them warning. So the way this works, you guys, is we pick, I've created 4 topics out of my butt this morning. And go ahead, bring them up, JJ. I'm waiting for JJ as always. If you guys know, you may recognize them. Go ahead. Yep. Aging great. That's for you, Barry. And me. And then finally, the stories tag. So Chanel is the first person. I saw your bit is why that came from. But go ahead, Chanel, you're up.
So what am I doing? I'm just picking one.
Just pick one to talk about. We all got to talk about it.
Yeah. Complicated holidays. Look, I think every holiday is complicated. I just think you got to make your own. Like every year, make your new tradition. We're not gonna have turkey. We're gonna get scallops and crust them. They're gonna be Parmesan encrusted scallops, and that's our new thing.
That's our thing.
You have to rewrite the memory. Don't just revamp it and sit and live and pity yourself. You make a new thing. Make a new family. Go out and find community and find somebody who likes one song that you like, and you start there, and you build,
And write a one-woman show about it. And write a one-woman show about it. As use these complicated like Father's Day, weird holiday for you, I imagine, coming up in June. And now that you've discovered you have a cop dad at 18, so
right.
It's
my cop dad also became a cop's daughter for a little bit. Got to tell you, don't recommend. Pretty rough. Don't suggest you do it. The barbecues are bad. If you want to hear a complicated holiday, go do 4th of July with some cops. It's complicated. It's complicated. They're drinking in public. Who's going to arrest who? It's crazy.
I was with my cop friend last night at a soccer game, and I understand completely. We don't always see it. He's probably watching. Amir's probably watching, as a matter of fact. So, you got any complicated holidays, Barry?
I think all holidays are a lie. It's a lie. I mean, it's something that somebody created and what have you. And I mean, on that other end of it, though, I do exactly what she said. I mean, I'm always like mixing it up. Sometimes I'm just like, I'm really not doing Mother's Day today. My mother has since passed on. I'm gonna post her picture, do this, do that. But I mean, but like they tell you, I mean, a lot of these holidays were created by Hallmark so they can sell greeting cards, But I mean, but you don't have to do it. You have to do it. You should, and always create your own traditions. Be a little flexible. Definitely be easy on yourself, and be easy on yourself on the holidays because, I mean, they're not all great. Some people, loathe and hate Christmas when it comes around. Thanksgiving, I don't want to get together with those people. I don't want to do that. I don't want turkey. You know, the only holiday I want to celebrate is Halloween. Why? Because I get to be a monster for real.
Not just play one on TV.
I could do all of that stuff, and then everybody's like, "Oh, that's cool today."
Yeah, I love it. I love it. All right, bring up the panel picks. It's Barry's turn.
Aging gracefully.
I knew it. I handed it off. Yeah, it was just waiting for that one right there. So
this is one of the best things. You see this? Look at my recliner.
Yeah. Okay.
Anything I do, I have to push off. You know? I'm pushing out the car. I'm pushing out. I blew my back.
All right, I like it. I'm not there yet. You're younger than me, brother.
I was like, the bed isn't that messed up. I feel like making my bed today. I turned around and pulled the blanket like that. 2 weeks and threw my back out just doing that.
I get it. I just had back surgery again, man. It's like everything falls apart at some point. Chanel, we're warning you now. Preserve your body, Chanel. Just preserve your body any way you can, be it your liver or otherwise.
Everybody in their 20s, 30s, you're doing the most. Take care of yourselves now. Be somebody that when you're 50, somebody can pick your ass up off the floor. You want to be that person. Like, oh, they don't look like they could carry me. I might want to.
Dude, I literally fell down the stairs before JJ and I were doing a live stream before the election, and I was running down the basement stairs in my studio and just head over heels landed in a pile at the bottom. My fiance comes down, she goes, "I'm not picking your ass up." She called the ambulance. I'm like, "But the show must go on."
They coming.
So yeah, I am not aging gracefully either. I assure you, it's been a bumpy road. You know, I got fake knees, all these other things, but it's important. But yeah, hey, you look good, and that's what matters, Barry. You're still right. You're still slaying. Yeah, and by the way,
I don't know what everybody said, but he likes how you look, Barry.
No. Well, yeah, but Chanel, see where this is going. Chanel, see where this is going. I'm jealous. Let's be honest. This isn't an attraction. It's a jealousy. But what I'm saying is, we luckily one of the panel picks wasn't Bill Belichick's girlfriend, because we can't give Barry shit. Because how old's your girlfriend there, Barry?
Oh no, there's no girlfriend. What are you talking about?
JJ, right? We pre-record that. We pre-record the show, pre-show too. So now we're gonna. We got it on tape. JJ's a mess today because it's early, so he won't be able to bring up the tape. But we'll let you off the hook this time. Bring the panel picks.
But yeah, man, you got to take care of yourself on the inside, man, or it's going to show. It's definitely going to show.
Yeah.
Don't let anybody touch your face. That's how you stay looking young.
I agree. Yeah, that's just the way it is. Yeah, it's a good tip actually. You know, it's like, and your back. My back is all jacked up now. All right, Chanel, your turn.
I'm not that big into decks, I gotta tell you. That really happened. I mean,
so tell me, what was like? Tell us a that really happened story, like bumping into Beyonce one day, as Barry did. I'm always curious about these kind of stories.
I feel like my life has been like that so many times. Well, the first time I went to Edinburgh, I didn't have enough money to buy a return ticket.
Oh wow!
So I just went. I do this thing where whenever I have a negative thought, like, oh, what if I don't get the money, or what if it doesn't work out? I immediately think, but what if I do? And it feels crazy, even while I'm doing it. Like on the plane on the way to Scotland, I was like, maybe I live in Scotland now. Maybe this is where I'm going to live. And so every day I just kept thinking, something's going to happen. The phone's going to ring, an email's going to come. And like after being in Scotland for a week, this lady emailed me and she said, hey, I know this is last minute, but can you headline this comedy festival in 2 weeks in Portland, Oregon? I was like, I can, but I'll need you to fly me from the UK. any possibility you have that?
No reason.
Like, yeah. And 5 minutes later, she sent me a plane ticket, and I sat there looking at this plane ticket on my phone, like, I can't even believe this happened. I cannot even. Like, I believed it the whole time, but I still can't believe that it really happened.
Trust the universe.
that. So many stories like that, for sure.
Trust the universe. Barry, man, you mentioned one already, Barry, working your way to Dream Girls. I mean, it's
really
sounds like you make it. Yeah, that really happened. Yeah.
It really happened, man. I'm just like, and I manifested that destiny. Everybody knows that I'm like the biggest fan of their musical Dream Girls. I even got Effie tattooed on my arm right here.
Wow.
For Holiday, not just for Hudson. But they're both lovely and everything. But I snuck on to the set when I was sitting at my desk in New York, and my friend sent me an email saying that was happening, and I snuck on the set, and for days I got to work with, I'd say the biggest stars, my heroes. Eddie Murphy was there, I got to say hello to them, talk to them. Jamie Foxx could not have been nice. When I say that he is the nicest man and one of the most talented people on the planet, he absolutely is. It was just like he was the one who was telling me, when I got there, I didn't even have any vouchers, or anything to become a union member. I was non-union. That was the day one. At the end of that day, I had my first voucher, because they switched me from non-union to union because they made me a band member. And then then you only need 3 days later, I had all my vouchers, and I mean, you talk about listening to your story too about getting that plane ticket. This is manifesting your destiny. I'm not sure if people believe. I mean, you don't have to believe in God. He believes in you. And so I mean, you manifest your destiny, and the things that are supposed to happen for you will happen. And so yes, that really happened. But if you say, "Oh, I ain't gonna never be nothing. I ain't gonna never do nothing," you ain't never gonna be nothing, and you ain't gonna never do nothing. You're a negative person, and you should hide in your house. Don't spread that out to other people unless you get some help there. But anything can happen. Manifest your destiny, man.
I love it. That's a great place to wrap this conversation on Mother's Day. I appreciate it so much. This is the most important part of the show. Chanel, where can they find you? I know I mentioned LA in May 30th, right? I believe, but where can people find you? Where can they see you live? Go.
You guys can follow me on Instagram at Chanel Ali. That's Chanel like the perfume, Ali like Muhammad. I also have a website, chanelali.com. I'm coming to LA May 30th. I'm doing my one-woman show at the Lyric Hyperion. I'd love, love, love for you to be there. I think we're like 50% sold already, so grab your ticket.
Barry's in LA.
Oh yeah, Barry's going to be there.
I go there all the time.
Barry's apparently going to be there, so you should come. If Barry's going to be there, Fred's definitely going to be there. Because
all right, I'll hop a plane. Screw it. No, look, my fiance is watching this, Chanel. You're going to get me in trouble.
I know.
Barry, what you've got? I mean, did you say you have 3 things in the can right now? Tell us what's coming.
I do. I've been fortunate enough to be working with a fantastic director and writer, Chris Stokes. IMDb him. He has a lot of stuff going on right now, working with some fantastic people. And also one of my stars from Dreamgirls. I just got to work with in one of his movies, Obaba Babatunde. But I have Wrong Place, Wrong Time on Tubi. All of these movies can be found on Tubi. That's actually out right now. We came in at number 1 in the country. And then his second movie that's about to drop right now is called TKO, and I'm in that. And my roles keep getting bigger, too. I love it. And so the last one we just shot is called The Follower. And it's basically a take on Misery. And it's about a fan who kidnaps her, kidnaps a star, and I play the nosy neighbor next door. But all of these are going to be on Tubi. And Wrong Place, Wrong Time is already on there. They're really good too, so check them out.
Love it. We're on it. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us on Sunday, on Mother's Day especially. Coming off an airplane, Chanel, appreciate getting up early, Barry. We appreciate you both. What a lot of fun we had here, and best of luck both of you. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Thank you.
See you soon.
Take care now.
Bye now.
Nice to meet you, Chanel.
Oh man, we do the show for the panel with this. I don't know. It was what a blast. I just love this stuff. Well, you guys, as you can see, we got a little tighter show this week. We're going to wrap here soon. It's Mother's Day. It's important. You heard such important stuff from. This is what I love with the panels. You dig in, you find life advice, manifestation, believing what you do, and it will. You have faith, and that's so important right now as we circle back to the political world that we work in right now. it is a weird time, right? And we do want them to succeed. The funny thing I get accused of a lot by our opponents is that I want Trump to fail. I want them to. No, I do not. I want them to succeed because I am an actual patriot. I actually did serve my country. I want my country to remain one of the greatest countries in the world. I want my country to remain humane. I want my country to be to live the values that we swear we have that are sworn into our documents. I want my country to meet those. And so for me, no, I do not want to see Trump or Duffy or anybody else fail. I want to see them succeed. My frustration is that they refuse to. So we will give credit to Sean Duffy for the announcement today of some actually, as you can hear from our first guest, Harvey, these are actually good things that have been in the works. So maybe he finally listened to some experts and did the right thing. Because I don't want planes to crash, for God's sake. I didn't tell you during the show, I was in DC the night of the helicopter crash. I was sitting at the wharf. Max, JJ was in town too. We were at a conference and I was sitting at the wharf at a seafood restaurant when that helicopter flew by and noted to myself, hey, there goes a Black Hawk. Why do I note a Black Hawk? Because that's a Black Hawk. I flew those. I flew Black Hawks. And to see them fly by, to crash moments later, we could see, I was texting JJ the whole time. I could see the crash site from my hotel room. It's terrible. Nobody wants that. I want this government to succeed. And so we're going to have to work hard to manifest that, to support that, to encourage that. And that may mean the uncomfortable act of saying, you did the right thing this time. Thank you for that. It doesn't mean we don't hold them accountable for their many, many laws that break, everything else. But our lives as a nation, as our fellow citizens, whoever they voted for, and that's the last thing I'll talk about before I let you guys go on a heavy note. Can you guys do me a favor? Every time I post about veterans protesting Trump or veterans being in danger of their day, it always feels like someone, especially on Blue Sky, feels they have to say, well, that's what they wanted. Veterans voted for them. Okay, that may or may not be true because believe it or not, the only numbers we have are from exit polls, which are notoriously inaccurate. We do know, let's just use those, say 50, 60% voted of voters. That ends up being about 5 million of the 15 million living veterans in America. Okay? What's weird about to me, and this is me being angry a little bit, is no one ever says that about hardly any other demographic. But when I talk about veterans on social media, people feel very freely from both sides of the spectrum, especially liberals, to be honest with you, say, well, that's what they wanted. So we are never going to get the country we want, the one we were just talking about with our guest and me talking about a minute ago. We're never going to get there as a nation if you write off whole swaths because of a fucking exit poll. Okay? So refrain yourselves, pull you back from saying these things to people. Because I could turn right around and say, aren't you a white lady? Me, I'm a Gen X white male. Do you know who really went hardcore MAGA? People who look just like me. Not me. I didn't want this. We're going to get this country back when we stop attacking each other for what may or may not have been based on a poll. We have to care about each other. We have to take each other together. We have to worry about people dying, worry about our country. So please just refrain from that at this point. Let's start bringing people together again to fight these inequities. We have fellow citizens being disappeared. We have children. Did you hear the story the other day where they scooped up a father on the side of the road in his truck and they left his children in the van? ICE left his children in the truck. I don't care who he voted for. I care about the fact that that our government is leaving children on the side of the road because they want to arrest their father. I'm never going to ask who he voted for because that's what matters. We will lose our souls as a nation if we don't care about everyone that's in it, even the ones that are visiting, even the ones that are here illegally, even if they're criminals. I hate to say it. It is about the due process and the habeas corpus and the rights that we all earned. And the minute we keep trying to say, well, that person deserved it and that one didn't, we're never going to end this fight. So that's my little serious note on a Sunday on Mother's Day before we go off. Thank you guys for so much for joining today. I appreciate the people who joined us on Sunday on Mother's Day. This was a little pre-brunch show compared to normal. We'll get back to it. I did forget to connect Substack, so Substackers, you get to see this in pre-record. Sorry about that. It's been that kind of a morning here at the Wellman house, but that's okay. We'll make up for it by going to brunch now. Thank you for joining us. We will be back here live again next Sunday morning. Guarantee. In the meantime, you can learn a lot about cool things going on. I will be in Washington, D.C. on June 6th for the Unite for Veterans, Unite for America rally. Once again, veterans of all stripes coming together to call on our government to take care of our veterans, the benefits they've earned, to take care of them instead of firing them like our ATCs, to take care of respecting and following the Constitution of the United States. That's what we're going to demand on June 6th, live on the National Mall. Hope you'll join us. It'll be live streamed too as well, but we'd love to get as many people as possible there. In the meantime, stay safe out there. Keep up the fight. Follow us on Substack, fpwellman.substack.com, Blue Sky, FPWellman, Instagram, wherever you can find us. We'll be running the shows. We'll be doing videos all week. I can't wait to see you next Sunday. In the meantime, enjoy your Sunday. Enjoy your Mother's Day. We will see you right here again next week.